What is going on, YouTube? Pass the prop. Back here again. It is week 16. It is fantasy football semifinals for normal leagues, mind you, normal leagues. But we're back here ready to go. Joined as always by my guy, Stu. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing pretty good. Obviously, a nice Friday show here right before a big slate. We're finally to that point of the year now where we get Saturday football as well. I mean, we got a loaded bowl game schedule in addition for all the college football fans. It's just a great weekend of football right now. It's a good time to be a sports bettor, and I'm excited. I think we got a lot of good plays. Ready to go.
Yeah, I'm a little overexposed already on the weekend. I already got my props already loaded. I know we were already talking that we have a bet already in Ohio. Not the same bet, but both of them looking pretty good at this point. Knock on wood that it continues to go well. But yeah, it was a good week. Unfortunately, my college spot dropped. You hit your college play. Hopefully, you guys pop in and saw I did play McConkey on action and on the comment section below after the Williams debacle. I know you were on him as well. It was just it was tough, but at least your boy Haskins pushed us up there. And I think we ended up over 2 units on the show.
Yeah, shout out Hassan Haskins, 16-1 anytime touchdown. And then once again, for a couple people that have Hard Rock Sportsbook, for whatever reason, I have no clue why, 40-1 on Hard Rock. No other book was even close to that. And I'm not talking about for like 5 minutes, like an accident. It was up for a long time. So that was awesome, man. Haskins scoring that touchdown at the end. It really saved my night. I had the Broncos. If you watch the show, obviously, we're not like spread bettors, but it was one of the times I felt comfortable, diving into the analysis on the Broncos, and everything that could go wrong did. I mean, it started out perfectly, exactly on script, and then Herbert just did his thing. You know what I mean? Herbert's just better. And that the first half looked so different than the second half. So the Broncos were really bumming me out. That whole game was looking like a bummer for a little bit. And then Haskins, man, with that huge catch out of the backfield, exactly what we talked about. We missed Vidal as well. I know he got steamed up. When I talked about him on the show, he was 8.5. I believe it closed 13.5. A lot of people were on that. And it was the pass blocking, man. You could see it. I mean, it was
terrible, bro. It was terrible.
You can't be out there if that's going to happen. And the same thing with Gus. Gus isn't as bad. He's a veteran, but he's slow. He's just not a fast guy. So Haskins got out there, and all you need is an opportunity. And once again, 16-1 was great, but 40-1 was insane for a guy that's going to be out there. So super pumped for that. Hopefully a couple of you guys jumped on in. And yeah, definitely a great ending to that game.
Yeah, so we're closing in, man. We're closing in on that 20. I know we've been close a few times, haven't crossed it, but we're getting close. And obviously really excited for this slate as well. It's a loaded slate. You got Saturday games. You got 11-game Sunday slate, which would be awesome. Super excited. I'm like I said, I'm already loaded up on the weekend. But yeah, shout out to you hitting Haskins. It was a good night for me last night in the hockey streets, bro. I'm not a huge hockey guy. But I ended up taking down two contests last night. I don't even really know what to say. I've been watching a lot more because, dude, my rant, let's get out of the way. Let me get it out of the way quick. I got to get it out right away. First 5 minutes. 16 of you guys can hear my rant here. I've been watching so much more hockey because it's on ESPN Plus, bro. I can watch every game almost on ESPN Plus. And, I don't want to have 19 different subscriptions. I don't want fucking Peacock. I don't want Ballers TV. I don't want all this, whatever it is, bro. It's like 10 different ones, dude. If you want to watch all of these college basketball games, and you want to watch all these NBA, everything, dude, it's crazy. So I've been kind of diving in a little bit more on those, and it's entertaining too. Obviously, I'm watching that. So yeah, it was a good night. Obviously, going to be playing most of that, or not most of it, but some of it on this weekend slate because it's loaded. We got college football here, and it should be fun.
Yeah, no, I'm not a real big hockey guy, but I was very happy to see you take down those contests. That was nice. I really have no clue what's ever going on, but if you're going to start firing off some picks, I'll tail them. I don't need to know what's going on. I just want the money at the end of the day.
Yeah, dude, I didn't have any oh, for sure. By far the best playoffs, bro. And even when I didn't watch like hockey, like religiously, I would watch the playoffs because that shit's intense, bro. So I ended up being, I think, a little bit over 6K last night on those. So shout out, and probably just going to Christmas gifts. And
I was going to say.
So we already talked about it's going to be a little quicker, or we're going to try to end a little bit earlier because I know we both got to go run around and, have that procrastination shopping there. I'm about to go drop a bag on all this stuff because, dude, when you shop for like women, like my mom, my sister, and my wife, like, bro, they buy whatever the fuck they want, bro.
Yeah.
So it's impossible, dude. It's impossible. So you have to like spend more than like, dude, I've bought clothes for myself like twice in the last 3 years, bro.
Yep.
So I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, I have to call one of them to answer for the other twos, and then I have to call the other one to answer for the one. It's just like, dude, it's connecting the dots, trying to figure that out, man. Because it's like, it's so tough, man. When they, you get 3 boxes a day outside, bro. It's like, what are we doing, dude? Like, you just buy whatever you want or whatever you need. Now it's like, well, I'm just sitting here, shit out of luck, man.
Yeah, no, for me, it's like, yeah, I'll take another hat. But, on the other side, what am I doing in like Macy's looking at scarves? Now I got to buy 2 scarves because I don't know which one they're going to like more, so I just got to get them both. Like, it's a little bit risky, but hey, that's why we're here. We got to make a little bit of money, buy as many scarves, Lululemon, Sephora gift cards, stack them up, You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to fail. We're procrastinating, but we're still showing up, right? We're still getting the stuff. We're still going. We're still spending the money. Hopefully we can help you guys make a little money so, you break even on this one.
Yeah, even if you're going to have a shit gift, if you just spend a decent amount of money, like, it's just like,
yep.
I did it. I was there, showed up,
yep.
Put the work in, and I'm freaking elbowing ladies because there ain't any room in any of these spots, bro. It's the week before Christmas, bro. You're elbow to elbow. I see something I like. Yeah, we might have a little forearm, a little shove. We know what we want, So, yeah, it's ready to go. I'm super excited for this slate, Stu. I know you are as well. Any of your fantasy teams make it to the semis?
Yep. I've got one team, and it's a Gibbs team as well, so that always feels good, obviously. I will say it is a Darnell Mooney team. We talked about that a little earlier in the week with Penix. That's a little bit riskier, so maybe, have to do some dumpster diving there, but still feeling good. I got Chase Brown as well. Got some good running backs at Bijan, who you're going to talk about as well. So it's really, can my RB1s continue to carry me? And then actually Matthew Stafford, who's been a little up and down at quarterback.
Great matchup.
I was going to say, we're finally back. We got a good spot right here. And that's actually an under-the-radar game as well, that Jets-Rams one. I'm definitely going to have some bets. I think that's one that's not quite being talked about enough. So definitely excited. Hopefully that team can make it through. I feel like I'm going to win the whole thing. So I'm feeling good right now, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I got a good start out of my boy Ladd last night. Got a nice 15 points. Not much you can complain about. As my wide receiver 3. I mean, he's my wide receiver 3 flex guy. So obviously you put him in your wide receiver spot because you don't want to put the flex guy on Thursday night just because it's, it's against the rules. It's like it's like taboo, bro. You can't put the flex on a Thursday night, but
yeah,
obviously have him, CD. I have as my flex guy tonight on Sunday Night Football, Terry. It's just going to be tough now. I sent you the message. My team has been just absolutely riding Josh Allen, Bijan, CD, and I have Kamara. Kamara's now out, but I have Condre Miller. I got Tajay Spears. I went everywhere, bro, trying to find some extra ones because after last week. And I also grabbed Alexander Madison. So this can kind of be the start off here because if you guys got questions, if fantasy questions start to sit, drop them in the chat. We'll try our best to give you the best answer. Where would you go here? It's tough because I know how cold it's going to be. That's why I'm a little bit more worried about that Bears game. Just because it's going to be, dude, we got like 6 inches yesterday, 2 days ago. It's going to be cold as hell. You got Jared Goff in the cold. And also the Saints are like 14.5-point dogs in Lambeau. Like it's a tough spot. Like, am I crazy for thinking I need to start Alexander Madison against this freaking trash Jaguars team, dude? They are bad. And so, I mean, Madison's bad too, but man, like there's nobody left. There's nobody left in that backfield outside of Abdullah in a trailing game script.
Well, Abdullah and Dylan Lobb as well, right? He was a guy they picked up at the very end of this draft. Maybe he was undrafted. I don't remember. He was a late pick either way. Had a couple good plays on special teams. For me, it's just like, what has Madison done to deserve the starting role all year? Like Kendre, what you get in Kendre, it might not be shit on the ground, but you can probably get 4 catches in that offense, right? I mean, if he's playing the Kamara role, because right now they're playing backup quarterbacks. They're literally just saying, let's see what we got for next year. Kendre is going to be there next year, right? You might as well use him in that full role. And I really don't know who's behind him in the backfield on that team. Like, it's got to be
Jamal Williams and CEH.
Is Jamal Williams active? Wow, maybe he steals some carries. That'll be interesting. I forgot. I thought he was injured. Yeah, I don't know. And CH is funny. I don't think he's gonna do anything.
There's no way. He got picked up like 3 days ago.
Yeah, but that's my problem is Abdullah's going to steal all the catches. So what, Madison maybe gets 1 catch, right, out of the backfield. I feel like Kendre's getting 3-4 catches minimum. So on the ground, is there enough? Maybe. I just fucking hate Alexander Madison, so I would not be starting him. But I get where you're coming from. It's definitely understandable. I'm just like a sucker for the workload, and I feel like Kendre has a bigger guaranteed workload.
Interesting. All right. We will get to a couple of those other questions here in a second. Let's get to our favorite game of the week. What is the game standing out to you? We can count Saturday as well. Both of those days count for us. Only one that doesn't is the Monday night game. So take it away, Sue. Which one are you locked in on?
Yeah, this is a tough one because I care about a lot of games this week. Obviously, if you can see that flag behind me, there's one in particular. I won't mention that. I'll go Steelers-Ravens, honestly. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm like, that's the one where it's like kind of a betting like paradox. Like I'm going back and forth trying to figure out. I started Lamar rush attempts. Why I like Lamar longest completion. It's kind of like Steelers, Jalen Warren. Do I trust Jalen Warren again? Like there's a lot of interesting things to look at in that game. And obviously a division rivalry, that historic, 2 teams that obviously want to beat the crap out of each other with serious postseason implications. I mean, both Saturday games are awesome. Like I'm really excited. I think Texans Chiefs isn't going to be like high scoring, but it's going to be almost like a playoff kind of game. We're a little slow, a little bit ugly. And yeah, both Saturday games are awesome. But man, that division rivalry, Ravens, Steelers game has got to be my go-to. But hey, Commanders, that's always number 1.
Yeah, I'm excited for that Vikings game. I'm really interested to see how they do in Seattle. I know Sue was hyping up the 12th man last time they played at home, and they were dog shit and got wiped. But also, this is going to be cold as fuck this week. It's a little bit different. I don't think it matters when you face the Packers because they're an outdoor team and they're used to that shit. But when's the last time Sammy D went into the cold? When's the last time these guys have really had to do anything yet? Because there hasn't been that many cold games yet, right, in any of these spots so far. So I think that in particular really interests me. The Lions probably getting a fade from me. Vikings probably getting a fade from me this week just because you're heading into spots where, I mean, obviously the Bears just want to win because it's a division game and you want to play spoiler, but Seattle, Geno said he could have came back in if possible. Like if it was necessary, he would have came back in that game against the Packers last week. I just think that's going to be just a fun game to watch. Those good cornerbacks on good wide receivers. Hawkinson didn't make my card this week, but you guys know, or for the show purposes, I'm going to find a way to bet on him, though.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a good one. I mean, that's going to be a good one. Obviously, I'm protesting that whole division, the Seahawks, the Cardinals especially. I really don't. The Rams are okay. The Rams are fun. They don't get to be in that category. But the rest of those guys, I really have no interest in watching at this point, and I don't want to bet on them after last week either. So I'm rooting for you. Like I said, I like Hawkinson as well, but I think that'll be definitely a telling game. I think we're going to learn, a decent amount, especially about the Vikings, right? Because I know a lot of people really, don't believe in them, to be completely honest.
Yeah, and especially if they're going to be a wild card spot, bro. Right? If Detroit falls to a 2 seed, bro, there ain't no way they're winning in Philly. I don't think there's a way they're, you know what I'm saying? Like if they have to go to Philly, bro. With that defensive line, oh, my God. Bro. Oh, my God. All right, let's take a look at a couple of these. Actually, we got dogs. Sue, what's your dog this week? Let's see. Hopefully you're not fading went against my Packers last week. Hopefully you just get that out of the way and you get a winner this week.
Well, I'm like most tempted by like the ugliest dogs on the
What, the
slate.
Patriots too?
Yes.
14 is too big, bro.
It feels like it. Like Josh Allen has been on like 100% these last couple weeks. Like he's been on
Because he's
MVP.
had to, right? He's
Exactly. And like you get like a team where you actually don't have to do that now. Like to me, this is a Ray Davis game. James Cook starts out a little bit strong, then we just see Ray Davis run all over him. Like 14 points to me just feels like a little bit much. So that's the one I'm going to go with. And I was honestly looking at, even as ugly as to say, we're both actually betting against him. I even think the Giant spread, if it gets to like 10, especially, I saw it was at 9 earlier today.
It's 8.5 on draft.
8.5. That sounds more reasonable, but like that just seems a little bit much to me. I don't know who's laying the other side, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Especially with, DeVito back out again. DeVito's so bad. I mean, I don't want anything to do with him. So I don't know. There's a lot of ugly dogs. And I do want to throw this out here before we move on. I will be fading my Commanders as well. I just want to, it's dog of the week segment, but I've had to get in here before. I can't bet the Commanders. I see people on them. We'll talk about it in my props a little bit later, but I really don't get it. So wanted to throw that out there as well.
Yeah, dude, sometimes the books know something. So, just like last game, bro.
Yeah.
Like, did we think that the Chargers deserve that? No. But guess what? It ends up right there, right? We're a one possession game. So I think if I'm taking a dog, I'm taking the Bears. I hate to say it, but I'm taking the Bears, dude. Like, until I see that, like, the Bears literally just got to sell out in the run game. That's all you got to do. You have to do it. You got to slow down Jahmyr Gibbs. To be honest, I don't think that we're going to see him in that 25 touch workload. I know a lot of people do. I don't think so, especially when you're down this many pieces.
Yeah.
And it's cold. Gibbs ain't never played cold games either. Like, you don't want to play. I even heard him in an interview talk about how he doesn't like the cold, right? I don't remember who it was with. Shit, it's going to bother me now. Maybe Kay Adams. Maybe that's who it was. But he said he doesn't like playing in the cold. Like, this is – I'm telling you, dude, it's going to be cold as shit here. Like, it's supposed to be like low teens today, and that's not even counting wind, right? And then the sun's out, and it's still like that. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to be a tough one. I think – and also, if this was earlier in the season, the Lions probably beat the shit out of them. But, my God, dude, that defensive line, I think Swift is going to be getting that ball 20, 50 times. Like, they're going to just – run that dude into the ground and throw bubble screens. Like that's literally what that whole offense is. And Caleb Williams is like the king of that fourth quarter garbage time that just finds a way to get back there, dude. And he just backdoor covers. I think I found a couple 7s, a lot of 6.5s, but definitely like that spot for the Bears in this spot. Obviously Goff's outdoor history is pretty well known. And yes, they did beat the Packers in Lambeau, but he threw the ball like 14 times, and it was sideways sleet. He didn't even have to throw the ball at all. So I'm ready for it. Let's go.
Yeah, and I like that. I got a little bit of Craig Reynolds touchdown in that at 440. It's now kind of like 350-ish, which is still like solid, but not as nice. But it's the same logic of like, no way. Like Jahmyr Gibbs, I think the averages last year in 3 games were like 18 carries and then like maybe 5 targets or something like that. And like that does make sense. They're fighting for the 1 seed. It's not like they're gonna have their foot off the gas here. But to see that kind of super heavy workload, especially if they are leading, like you said, it's kind of like a 14-0, and then the Bears score the touchdown late. They keep it closer. Like, I don't think Gibbs sees that insane workload. And they love Reynolds, too. He's been like a long-time trusted guy.
Yeah, he's been there forever.
Campbell sings his praises every year. And if you remember in their garbage time weeks in the past when they want to get guys involved, Reynolds is always like one of those guys. So I think it'll be interesting how they use him as a fantasy owner. I obviously hope it's, a shit ton, but I don't think it's going to be like over the top, but obviously still in contention for like RB1 on the slate, which is always, nice as a fantasy owner.
Yeah, no, it's, I don't know. I think my boy Bijan and Saquon are going to probably be the top 2 in that one this week, just because those numbers are insane, dude. The numbers are insane there. Let's take a look at a couple questions and we'll get to some props too. I don't know about you, but I am not trusting Anthony Richardson. Like, I even want to bet on Jonathan Taylor unders this week. Like, I just have a feeling that this Tennessee team, they're only 3-point dogs here. Mind you, they've gotten crushed by like 20 the last 2 weeks, and they're giving you 3.5, right? That's so much volatility on this Indy side. Can't pass the football for shit outside of maybe 2 passes a game where Richardson closes his eyes and throws it up and sees what happens. But I don't know, man. I know I've heard a lot of people really liking Richardson this week, and it's just I'm kind of a little bit off it. He's supposedly right now, him and Michael Penix are the 2 chalk quarterbacks on DFS this week in all these projection models that I'm seeing. So I don't know, man. Yes, he's only 5,400. Michael Penix is like 4,800, but I'd rather play Drake May at like 5,600. You know, like I'd dig in the dumps way worse. And I just feel like he is just, I mean, obviously you're looking for a huge game here, but like in the playoffs, dude, like I guarantee he didn't bring you there. I'm telling you that.
I was going to say, the playoff team I was talking about earlier is an Anthony Richardson team. And you want to know where he's been this whole time? On the fucking bench. I think I started him a little bit earlier in the year, maybe on Stafford's bye. But yeah, I'm sitting with Stafford and I'm sitting with Richardson, and I'm not even thinking about putting Richardson in the game. So for me, it's like, yeah, he has a high ceiling and he has a very low floor. So if you want to risk -6 points in the playoffs, I mean, I don't know. For me, like the Titans, I get they haven't been playing at like the highest level. They're still a good defense. They still have good players on that back end. And Richardson, man, he'll make a mistake against anybody. So I don't know. If you have a better option, I'd be going in that direction. I get the upside can potentially, save your season, but I'd really only be looking to do that if you're in like a desperate spot. Maybe you started Cortland's son. I don't even know how well he did last. Someone with like 3 points, then maybe you're a little bit desperate. But other than that, I'd probably try to find a safer option.
Yeah, or if your team is just significantly worse than the other team, like, and you're looking for a 30.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, Richardson definitely could drop a 30, but that isn't a very probably top 3% outcomes, bro. Like, it's really low probability for that one. Just got the injury news. Njoku and Tillman are both questionable coming into this one. Does not really matter. The only reason I brought that up was Thomas bringing up this question. After this one, we'll get into some bets. Flex spot, final game, Shakir, Judy. I am for sure playing Shakir, bro. Like, it's not even close. Not even close. Like, even if Judy had Winston, I will probably still take Shakir. And it'd be significantly closer. It'd probably be like a 0.5 point difference. But having MVP Josh Allen or DTR, like, it's not even close. Like, I have to. I hate the Bills just as much as I hate the Packers for fantasy. Like, you can't pick a wide receiver that you like. But Shakir's kind of turned into that dude. Like, he's like the one guy who has been trustworthy lately. Getting 7+ targets, I believe, in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So he's been that guy. Obviously, I know they're getting healthier, but you ready to roll, Stu? You ready to get after it?
Ready to go.
All right, let's do it. I'll start you off here, and then I'll talk about the same game. So
sounds good. I'm going to be starting out with a little bit of maybe a curveball here, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how many people are betting on Tyler Algier this week, but I was definitely first in line, ready to go. This is one I had circled after last week. I did end up betting him a little bit in prime time, just with the assumption that game would kind of get a little bit out of hand and they'd ease off of Bijan a little bit because, as we know, as a Bijan fantasy owner myself, each of these last 2 years, this team is still willing to spread around the rock, right? It's not like 100% to 0 Chuba Hubbard, like Panthers situation. They've been rocking Algier in there plenty. But what I obviously like about it the most is the game script, right? We talked about the spread earlier, 8.5. It's the same as last week. This is a game where they're projected to be winning probably pretty handily for a good majority of the game. And there's a good reason for it. The Giants, I don't know if you have been paying attention or not, they're not trying to win football games right now. They're trying to get a better draft pick. They're trying to get Mr. Sanders and his father to come in town and take over. So, Brian Daboll's obviously fighting for his job. He's not going to roll over. He's not going to quit. It's not how real football works. But at the end of the day, it tells you where these two teams are. And technically, the Falcons aren't out of it yet. I think they're done. I think they're cooked. I don't see a huge path forward for them this season. But, they're still in contention. They're going to be trying right here. And when we look at Algier, he's been very good. 4.8 yards per carry as a backup, ranking third in the NFL in success rate, just behind Derrick Henry right there. 57% success rate on the season. When he does get in, he's been very good. He kind of functions more as the bruiser, a little bit of a, tougher, short yardage kind of back that gets in there. And as people remember, occasionally would steal a Bijan Robinson touchdown or two. We're a little bit past that now. He's more evened out a little bit less in the red zone. But what I like about it, when you look on the season, there have been 7 wins for the Falcons. He's over this in 5 of those 7 games, right? It's pretty simple. When they win, Algier's more involved. When they lose, he's not. And it's very easy to figure out. Bijan's one of the best pass catchers we've seen come into the league over the last couple of years. His dual threat ability makes him an absolute tank. But when you're ahead, when you've got that bruiser, when you've got someone real tough and pretty freaking hard to tackle, I think that's where we see Algier step in a little bit more. What I also like, Bijan Robinson, very heavy workload on a short week as well. Obviously, your franchise player. Sure, it's the same situation as Gibbs. You're fighting for playoffs. It's not like we're going to have the safety gloves on or anything. But on a short week, Bijan's not really a 25 touch per game kind of guy. It doesn't need to be like that, especially when you're luckily taking care of business against the Giants. So as this game progresses more and more, I think it looks very similar to last week. The only difference is Kirk Cousins was so fucking bad last week, they couldn't slam the door. And so they almost lost that freaking game in the end. I don't know if the Giants are going to be able to do any better. I don't know if Penix will magically make this offense, destroy. But I think it's going to be one of those situations where they're leading all game. They're in a good situation to run the ball. And if Algier continues to be involved the way he has, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be able to kind of clear this 40-plus yard mark pretty easily. So I have no faith in the Giants. I think they're going to get run all over. Their season was over when Dexter went down, right? He was the lifeline of that unit. He was their best player by far. And they kind of quit halfway through every game. I don't know if you've watched a Giants game, but mentally, they're the most defeated week 13 team you ever saw. And we're 3 weeks into it and it's still the same. So definitely fading them. And I like, Tyler Algier to take advantage over 35.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, I have Algier in fantasy. Unfortunately, I just use him for a handcuff of Bijan at this point because I'm going right back. I know you talked about the short week and everything there, but for me, it's tough when the game's on the line. You know where they're giving the ball to, right? Unfortunately for me, I want to play rushing, receiving, but I just don't know how Penix is going to be in terms of dumping the ball off. And also, I don't know how much they're going to pass. I really don't. Obviously, if you're the Falcons, you probably circled this game, right, as a game where if we're close and Cousins isn't playing well, right, this is the best time to do it. They have a fucking cupcake schedule to end the year, dude. So you got to win, right? But this is the game you want to have them in, especially when you have a Giants team that really hasn't gotten a ton of pressure on the quarterback. But for me, next week, dude, they're playing Washington, who hasn't really been able to stop the run either, right? So that's where I'm kind of this is probably the best time to bring them in, right? Because kind of need the little safety gloves here, right? I'm assuming that they're going to give him 25 to 30 attempts, right? I'm assuming he's going to be chucking that ball down the field like he did in college, right? He's a good deep ball thrower. Obviously, when you have Polk, McMillan, and Roma Dunze, obviously it's a lot easier. But, you got weapons. I'm interested to see the other ones and how they do with them, like Kyle Pitts and Mooney. But I think Bijan's the focal point here. He's gotten 20 carries in the last 3 games. And these are games that are must wins, and they still have lost 2 of those games. But you mentioned it. They still have life, right? I believe they're fighting with the Buccaneers. And mind you, the Buccaneers are only 2-point favorites this week going into Dallas. So, and they've been playing a lot better. So this is a must-win game. Obviously, when that happens, we've seen Algier and Bijan on the field together multiple times in these last couple weeks. I've been watching a lot of their games, but I've bet on Bijan every single time. But to be under 90 here in a spot where we have seen the last 3 weeks, or the last 2 weeks, he's only had 4 targets in there because they're just feeding him on the ground. And obviously, I think they do try to have him out of the backfield. He's obviously a good pass blocker as well. He's just a great all-around running back. But I think I'm going to trust what I've seen with the volume here. And that's the thing is this game, I assume, knock on wood, that they get ahead in this game. I think both dudes should do whatever they want in this one, whether it's a touchdown for Algier, whether it's 10 carries for him. If they're having the ball and having the time of possession, 50-plus plays, I'm expecting 20 and 10, 25 and 11, something like that, where both these guys can eat in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of had the groundwork laid out last week. I mean, in a very similar game where they were similarly favored and expected to win, and we saw both of them highly involved. So I really don't see why we couldn't see the same, repeat of last week. So we're both kind of on the same angle, obviously different players here. But yeah, same, general plan of attack. And I think even some books like Caesars have like total rush yards over or whatever. Might even have to check some stuff like that out as well.
Perfect. Yeah, let's move to a couple other questions. I know we're trying to move through a decent amount here. I'm going up to the top because I know I missed a few. Pick 3 here. We have betting. Well, yeah, we'll do these two. So, but I need help with my dumpster semifinal team. A lot of injuries. Pick 3. D-Hop, Downs, Debo, oh God, Abdullah, Patrick Taylor, McMillan, D-Hop. I think D-Hop is fine. I would definitely take him over Downs.
I wouldn't do D-Hop. I would do Downs because
you do Downs over him.
Hollywood's back. Hollywood just got activated like an hour ago.
I get that. I don't think he's playing that much.
Yeah, I don't know. Downs
came back.
Alec Pierce is out though. I mean, I'd rather do that. I'd rather do Downs and then I don't know, like Patrick Taylor maybe. He's RB1 now, I guess. So that game's gonna suck. But can he catch passes? I don't even know. You know him better than I do.
He was okay. I think I'd rather play Taylor than Debo just on pure volume, and they've shown that they just plug and play Garendo for 20 touches
exactly
in that spot. So I think Taylor for sure. I'm up in the air on McMillan, bro. I know like he should get volume, but like he is really high on these touchdown scoring. Like he's got 3 touchdowns last 2 weeks. I think he's got like 13 targets. So it's not like crazy volume. And we've seen the Cowboys get shredded on the ground. I don't know. I'm a little bit less on McMillan out of these guys, though. He probably has to be in there. And then I had D-Hop in there. So I had D-Hop, Patrick, and McMillan. I think you had Downs, Taylor, and who was the other one?
I guess D-Hop as well, probably over McMillan. Yeah, so pretty much same thing.
Same thing. So I think I switched just Downs and McMillan in there. But yeah, it's tough, bro. It's tough. That's cross your fingers, man. Just hope you get a couple guys fall in the end zone. Kevin talking here. Bench 1, full point PPR. Chuba Hubbard, DJ Moore, Aaron Jones. Wow.
That's a tough one. He asked me that in the Discord earlier, and I couldn't think of who I was going to say. Ugh.
I don't think you can bench Chuba here.
You can't. The matchup sucks. Like, I would not
bench
him.
Does, but like, I don't know, bro. How do I bench him? He had to have gotten you here, though. He's probably been touching the ball 20 times, even in these losses. They got behind last week. Like, I have Arizona's defense starting in 2 of my leagues because I do like the spot, and I think it's going to be tough, but PPR here, dude, like, I don't know. If it's going to be that crappy outside out there, I probably said DJ Moore because I think Aaron Jones probably has to – he's going to do his thing here. I think Aaron Jones has another one of those weeks, but like I said, I'm nervous, man. He's been getting a lot of touches, and this is when he kind of falls off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. I mean, I would probably bench Moore, but once again, I'm probably going to bet DJ Moore this week. So it's kind of like – that tells you got some good options here. But yeah, more it's just the volume the other 2 guys have, you probably just have to go with just because the touchdown upside and everything else. So yeah, I'd be going with both of those guys, the running backs.
Yep. I think we got all of these. Okay. Canadian here. Last one. I'm screwed. Lost Kamara. Already lost Godwin. Need to pick 2 of these 3 wideouts. Tim Patrick, Darnell Mooney, Watson.
Like Christian Watson?
Wow.
I'd probably have to go Mooney, even with the he's still wide receiver too, even with the uncertainty.
Yeah. Well, who's the other one? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's just and Tim Patrick. By the way, Ertz is not playing either. So
I'm not playing Tim Patrick. I can't.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you got to go Watson. He has more upside. Unless it's Justin Watson. I really hope it's Christian.
I don't think it can be.
That would be brutal. But yeah, I'd go Watson and Mooney. I agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, and also got to remember these are going to be like high upside dudes in these spots. Like loves chucking that ball down the field. You just got to hope that he just doesn't draw another pass interference. Dude's been doing that so much lately. Like he's got like 3 or 4 in the last 4 weeks. And it's been great for the team, but it ain't helping me in fantasy. I don't get points for that. So, all right, Sue, your turn. Back to your team. Take it away.
Sounds good. Yeah, we're going a little bit juicier here, but honestly, I think this is a bad number. And if you're watching this on Sunday, this number won't be here. I apologize. I'd still play 8.5 as well. But yeah, this number can't be making it that much longer into the week. It opened yesterday. I wanted to bet it yesterday, but I wanted a little bit more liquidity in the market. Bet a little bit more on it. But I love it. Jane Daniels over 7.5 rush attempts. Probably my favorite bet of the week. Man, I mean, I think this one's kind of simple. When these two teams squared off earlier this year, it was his like first game back from being banged up. He really wasn't 100%, and he still went 7 carries for 19 yards. And what that tells me is the designed runs were really not in the playbook. Those 7 carries for 19 yards were mostly escaping the pocket, just trying to protect himself, trying to keep a play alive. I think that's the kind of volume we can expect from him, like on any given day against a good team, right? Especially when you look at the broader circumstances of this Washington team, which are pretty glum right now. I mean, when you look at their weapons, you got to remember 2, 3, and 4 in receptions are all gone, right? Noah Brown, Zach Ertz, and Austin Eckler are all gone. You can't really replace, like Zach Ertz has been very dependable for them. Now they're going to a rookie and Sanat. Like that's risky off the bat. Even from a blocking perspective, we probably see some more John Bates out there as well, who's kind of a non-factor in the pass catching department. For me, that's obviously a red flag, but even bigger than that, look how much production they were getting out of Austin Eckler earlier in the year as a back. Maybe Brian Robinson picks up a little bit more of that. Maybe McNichols gets a catch or two, but that's a little bit concerning. But the biggest one, the most important one that people aren't really talking about is Noah Brown. They don't have any wide receiver depth. This is the problem all year. Zacchaeus, Diami Brown, and freaking Luke McCaffrey are their backups. I think they just signed KJ Osborne off the street as well. The biggest problem, Noah Brown, one, was a good run blocker, a little bit underrated too. He was like a big-bodied outside wide receiver. They're now going to Diami Brown, Zacchaeus. These guys are 6 foot tall, 6'1". These are all undersized or slot guys. They don't actually have the personnel to put a wide receiver 2 out there. So the reason I'm talking about the broader context of this offense is, one, we saw Terry McLaurin get shut down in that first game against the Eagles, but the Eagles have a good defense, and I'm very concerned about where Washington is going to get their offensive production. So for me, it's kind of a game of like, let's go one at a time, right? And obviously, Diami Brown, I just talked about a second ago, is the wide receiver 2. Terry McLaurin is the wide receiver 1. He did absolutely nothing in that first game against Kenyon Mitchell on the outside. And now it's going to be safety help over the top all game. Like, I don't know why any team wouldn't double the hell out of Terry McLaurin all day long. And so what happens when you double the hell out of Terry McLaurin? And then once again, the Eagles have had good cornerback play. So you have another good cornerback covering either Diami Brown or Olamide Zacchaeus, like one of these loser backup wide receivers. You have great mismatches across the board. They can't really punish you out of the backfield too well. Maybe Brian Robinson steps up as a receiver. They can't really punish you from the tight end position. They don't have experience or pass catching ability. So it's like, where are we getting this offensive production from? I think a lot of it is going to have to fall on the shoulders of Jane Daniels, whether he likes it or not. And I think what that means is not only are we going to have those 7-ish carries from just escaping pressure from trying to stay alive in the pocket, likely in a trailing game script, you're also going to have those designed runs because now he's healthy. And this is something that's really been an issue, right? For a big majority of the middle of the season, if you were watching the games, he would always go to the sideline and they'd have that chest brace. They'd always be treating it. We're now 3 weeks removed from it. He's over this number in 2 of those 3 games, with his 1 miss coming in a 7-carry game. And once again, that was a 7-carry game in a blowout. I think Washington gets a lot of credit because they beat the crap out of the tight ends who suck. And then they barely held on to beat a Saints team. But right now, I don't know why we're getting them so much credit in the market. Like, I don't really understand the spread. I'm very concerned for how Washington's going to execute their offense. A lot of it really does fall on Brian Robinson's shoulders. And man, that's a tough recipe against the Eagles. Like, teams that Washington can run on, I will bet Washington against. That is my philosophy right now because of how important Brian Robinson is, how he opens up the rest of the offense. Because when you only got Terry McLaurin, there's only so many 50-50 deep balls you can do, right? You've got to have some other kind of offensive production. I think a lot of it is going to have to be Jaden Daniels doing it himself, calling his own number, in addition to the designed runs we're already going to see. So I love this number. I'd even play 8.5. I probably would have opened it up 8.5 juiced and let it get bet to 9.5 if I were making this number. So very happy we're getting this at all, and I would definitely take advantage sooner rather than later.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think they're like number 1 or number 1, 2, or 3 in terms of fantasy points allowed to wide receivers. Thing is I just think like, I don't know. I want to bet McLaurin this week in some way, shape, or form. I think it just has to be receptions just because, I mean, they're just going to kind of force feed those bubble screens and kind of use that as a run game, I think, because how else are you going to move the ball here? You know, like I just – Eckler being out just sucks, right? That's just a tough one because you can use him. You can even use him out of the slot. I know he had a couple games with the Chargers a couple years ago where you could use him out of that, but going to all reliables here, and I'm going to 2 of my favorite guys in this spot. Obviously, Travis Kelce, 4 catches. It's like minus 380. Then you got CD. I think it's like minus 180 for 60 receiving yards. I don't know. It's really tough for me to get away from Kelce at this 4 number. I mean, he's had 6 targets or more in his last 4 games. Not really trying to, fight off the yards. I don't want to fight that. I'd rather just take the underneath stuff. I know people, you obviously talked about Hollywood Brown there. I don't think that's going to limit Kelce in any way, shape, or form. Again, I think it affects who you said, which is DeAndre Hopkins, if anything here. I don't think Houston's really going to be that worried about the run. I just haven't been really impressed with that run game as of late. So I think it's going to have to be on the air, through the air here. And I think it's going to be those short intermediate routes with Mahomes being a little limited in terms of how much he can run. I don't think you're going to see as many deep balls down the field. So I think we're going to see a lot more of those quick passes. And obviously when you look at Kelce's numbers throughout the season, it's his yards per catch are a lot lower than you're used to seeing from a guy like Travis Kelce. Usually you see, 20, 30-yard catches in there. I think he only has like 1 or 2 30-yard catches this year because obviously you got to use him as a safety blanket. And you're seeing Noah Gray go a little bit more down the field rather than Kelce. Also, it's only a 3-point spread, dude. Like that's what you worry about in Chiefs games because they're very conservative when it comes down to late in the games. You know where Mahomes looks in those pressure spots and it's straight to Kelce. And these are the types of games where you start to see Kelce kind of pick it up a little bit. This would be those types of games, right? Where you got to get these wins. I think they're going to try to get this one maybe next week, and then they can sit them in that last week, and they don't have to play in that week 18 spot. But, you talk about it all the time. You want to bet Kelce exclusively in the playoffs. This is damn near a playoff spot because you don't want these guys playing out there, taking an L and having to play another week, right? Because these other teams behind them are surging right now. And obviously when Mahomes is at home in the playoffs, it's a different beast, right? We haven't seen him have to go on the road too much. So I think this is definitely a spot where I think Kelce's going to have one of those, vintage games. Looking at their last game against Houston was 10 for 108. Obviously it's not the same Kelce, but it does exactly what I'm saying. He finds the middle of those zones and just sits there and gets those underneath spots. So sign me up there. I'm not really too worried about running back catches either. Obviously, Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, not Kareem. I don't even know if Kareem Hunt has more than 2 catches in a game. I had him in fantasy. That dude was literally just 27 carries for 38 yards. And I don't know. I think Houston can jump on him a little early. I want to see him jump on him a little early and have him play from behind a little bit. So like that spot, CD, and probably the best matchup you can have, right? You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are, I believe, 4th in terms of targets to wide receivers so far this year. And I'm not gonna lie. I think Dallas is playing a lot better football right now. They're playing so much better. If this would have been Dallas like 3 weeks ago, I'd be worried that they're getting blown out so much he doesn't have to play. But we're seeing a nice close spread, one possession football game. Cooper Rush, you gave him 13 targets last week against Carolina, who obviously I know that they've been blown out in a lot of these games, but Carolina was still, I think they had top 10 in terms of yards per game to receivers. Obviously, they're usually behind in games. That's why. But can you ask for a better matchup? Maybe the Bengals, right? Because the thing that makes the Bengals and Tampa Bay the best is because their offense will just go down and score anyway, right? And they're trying to play fast. Obviously, the run game, I think, is going to be really important in this one. And I don't know, dude. There's really nobody else. Maybe Jalen Tolbert and for a couple deep bombs and Ferguson, right? And just the ability for them to run the ball competently helps out so much. Oh, my God. Rico Dowdle gave him so many open opportunities with CD. They weren't even close. There was nobody even around him, right? And CD gets those underneath ones and obviously has the ability to make something happen after the play. I believe it's 3 straight games of over a 20-yard catch and 4 of 5. So just to have that option, he's going to be double-digit targets here. Definitely a guy I want to use.
Yeah, no, I like this combo a lot. This is one of those combinations where you're like, how do you even get this at a reasonable price? Like at minus 108? Like, how is Kelsey 4 catches like a reasonable prop offering right now? Like that's one of those where if I was as a buck, I'd make that like minus 900. Like if you want to play Kelsey 4 catches, good luck. You got to search for a couple different things here. So the fact that that's even a playable pair, I'm definitely going to have to jump on that, because I don't see how that doesn't cash in this game. I mean, you talked about it a little bit, but like, the biggest thing for me, Mahomes really limited mobility right now, right? Like the guy is banged up, and now you get a great D line that's going to send pressure. So what does that mean? Short passing. Who does that sound like? Travis Kelce. Like 4 catches is almost disrespectful. And obviously, you've been backing CeeDee Lamb stat padding the second half of the season. It's been great. I mean, I don't see
4 or 5 out of the last 6 weeks. Yeah, it's been.
I was going to say he's like you got to get a CeeDee Lamb, jersey to hang back there at this point. And guess what?
If you get that fantasy championship, you'll get that jersey.
Yeah,
you'll get that jersey.
This is the best matchup yet. Like the Bucs is like the matchup we hunt for when we talk wide receivers. So final thing, Tyler, what the fuck are you talking about, dog? No one answers questions anymore. Do you want him to stop halfway through the pick? What's going on? I hope that's sarcasm. You were making me laugh while he was talking. I was like, I
don't look at those. Like I have my notes.
If you're not being sarcastic, question does not get answered anymore, buddy. You got to get the fuck up out of here. That's crazy. Mid-sentence is crazy. Like what? I don't know. That's insane to me. But that's really funny if he's not serious. Good luck, buddy. Hope you win this week. But yeah, not answering that. Come on. What are we doing?
Yeah, I think we got every question in here. But yeah, let me take a look. I don't know if we have any other ones. Hey, Z-Man. Yeah, you as well, my man. You as well. Let's get a quick recap in here. And then if anybody else has any other questions, I guess we'll get there.
Yeah. Open, man. I'll retweet it again. Get all the questions in here. But let's be a little respectful. I mean, come on. But yeah, Jane Daniels over 7.5 rush attempts. Man, my favorite spot of the week. Actually, minus 135 on MGM if you have it right now as well. You can get a little bit better price over there. But yeah, loving Daniels. Kind of talked about it. I'm struggling to see Washington's path to victory in this one. I think a lot of it's going to be forced on Daniels, whether we like it or not. And then, we're both going same angle here. Tyler Algier over 35.5 rushing yards, minus 115 against the New York Giants.
All right, let me get to mine, and then we'll figure it out. Yeah, we're not like corporate run. We are very much. We do the shit the way we want to. We say whatever we want. That's the nice part about being independent in this space. Bro, you can go in the other ones. They probably can't say the stuff we're saying. So, like, I get it, but yeah, I think we've got to every question. Bijan over 89.5 rushing yards at minus 115. CD 60 receiving yards with Travis Kelce 4 catches. Just feels real good today. Feeling really good about those. I obviously really want to take those guys straight up as well. So I am. Let's look. All right, Stu, let's just answer his question. Where is it? I have to. Well, let's answer it just because we're here, and I have Kendra Miller as well. So Kendre Miller or Patrick Taylor. Oh, man. I feel like you almost have to go Taylor, right?
I'd have to play Taylor. Yeah. Just like you said, plug and play. The way that offense is, Garendo handling every touch. Like, that's just next man up mentality. And Kendre, you kind of already touched on the negatives earlier.
Yeah, it's 14-point spread. I think Spencer Rattler's got awful. So, yeah. Yeah, I think Hopkins – I was saying that. I said to take Hopkins in my spot, but it's just like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, especially if he's been getting a little bit more of those like 12 to 15-yard catches, which you need time, bro. You need time. So that's what I'm worried about. And D'Amico Ryans has sent the house on a lot of these quarterbacks, bro. Like a lot more pressure than I was expecting Houston to be able to get on dudes. So good looks. But you know you can't let Patrick Mahomes get hit this week. Like that's literally got to be your number one priority. Exactly. So like – they might be just running option routes with him the whole time. Kelsey just like, all right, you see somebody coming, you do this, and that's 3 or 4 right there. I mean, we could get this in 1-2 minute drill. So let's get to – I have not seen any. I have not seen any Hollywood Brown lines out. I think he just got activated to even be an actual NFL player again. Any long shots for you, Stu, on this slate? We have a massive slate. We got a lot of good games. Anything catching your eye here?
Yeah, no, there's actually a lot of good stuff. I mean, the tricky part is just trying to like pick one. You know, I think I'm going to post on Twitter a longest completion parlay, like an alternate one, a little bit later with Lamar Jackson, Drake May, and Aaron Rodgers. I really like those guys for like a 40+ longest completion, but that's a little bit tricky to do. I don't want to do like a 3-leg parlay on the show. But it's a lot of the longest stuff. And for me, Garrett Wilson ladder's probably going to be in contention as well. I played a couple different things in terms of anytime touchdown. Trey McBride is going to be the free square of the week this week. Last week it was Josh Allen. Listen, if Kyler Murray's tweeting it out, then come on, what are we doing here? Like, I mean, if the quarterback's freaking tweeting it out, that's pretty much the same as Baker Mayfield saying, you know, we got to get Mike Evans to the 1,000. So a couple of those like fun, different narrative things. What I'll go with for the show pick is going to be Saquon Barkley 30+ yard rush at plus 330. He just missed this. I believe it was 29 or a 26-yard rush in their first matchup. I know they're going to sell out to stop him. That doesn't make them a better tackling team, unfortunately. Jeremy Chin is looking like he might miss this game, which is actually huge from the safety position as well. Someone that plays in the box a lot and helps out. Man, I'm just very worried about Saquon Barkley destroying Washington. And I think a 30-yard rush over 300 is a great price that I'm pretty much willing to play whenever they give it to me, especially in a matchup against a team like Washington. I've watched just not be able to tackle all year. I've watched us struggle against elite running backs all year. Obviously, 100 rushing yards is his baseline right now. So you're not going to really be able to ladder that very well unless you're talking about like most yards on the week kind of thing, which is definitely in contention. But I think 30-yard rush is a good way to attack it. He's one of the most explosive runners in the league. You don't need me to tell you that. So yeah, a lot of the stuff, the longest rush stuff is what I'm looking at this week, and I think Saquon definitely sticks out for a big one here.
Yeah, I'm going to do a little parlay myself. Plus 712. I'm going 8-catch parlay here. I really like JSN in this spot. Nice. I really like this spot for him. Like, I get it. People are saying Kenneth Walker coming back. I don't give a shit, bro. They ain't moving the ball on the ground against this team. Like, I watched them get just shut down by the Packers front seven, and they ain't even on the same planet. They're maybe a little bit better in terms of like pass rush, but running, bro, like damn, bro, like just straight up, like this is going to be very tough game for the running backs here. Charbonnet's a little bit dinged up as well, and now you're having first game back for Kenneth Walker. Like, could you ask for a worse spot? I don't think so. JSN obviously against a blitzing team. Sign me up, bro. Sign me up. He's going to be probably 40. If I do a 5 lineup this week for DFS, he's probably in 40 or 60%. He has to be. Like, at full point PPR, this dude is just an absolute machine. My only worry is the coach came out and said, hey, we need to get DK Metcalf the ball, but how are you going to do that? It's going to be deep balls. I don't think it's going to be underneath or anything like that. You're giving him more opportunities in those big shot plays, right? So maybe those targets turn from 4 last week to maybe 6 or 7. But I also think the running game is going down in terms of attempts because they've been running the ball more than a lot of other teams this year. So I think that's a great spot. Obviously, CD, I just talked about it. So many targets, bro. And that's all you can ask for, right? I mean, 13, outside of the Bengals game where he still did well and we cashed him on here in that Giants game. This boy's had double digits all the way dating back to the 6th of October. He's had double-digit targets that many games. For you to get 8 catches, you need 8 targets. He's already doing it. Let's do it. I'm excited. And in these competitive games, we've seen JSN do some stuff. So I'm excited. Tyler Lockett's pretty much out of the entire game script anymore. Sign me up, bro. I think this is going to be a big game for both these dudes.
Yeah, I forgot to mention JSN's really been the key to my fantasy turnaround because earlier in the year when he was sucking, it was rough. And then it just clicked. It really did. And he's been off since, and he's been a wide receiver 1 since. So I really like this combo. Once again, CD, you kind of already covered. Definitely love the ladder for him once again. But yeah, JSN's in a good spot here, and he's been rolling. It's really hard to bet against that guy right now. I mean, he's doing everything right. And if hopefully, Geno stays healthy this whole game, doesn't get banged up, that this can be a good one. So definitely like it. It's going to be much needed. Obviously, you nailed it with the blitz heavy team. Got to get the ball out quickly. That's exactly, DK probably gets 1 screen this game. Oh, we got to get more involved. I bet we see like a first quarter screen to DK. But then, like you said, it's probably just back to the deep shots and the regular kind of usage.
Well, yeah, bro. Like if you're watching and you watch these tunnel screens, like even with like CD Lamb, right? Like he's trying to make himself small so you can't see him behind there. You can't make DK Metcalf look small, bro. That dude's bigger than every single offensive lineman on his damn team, bro. Like, yeah, that's how those tunnel screens work, bro. That's why CD, that's why you see DJ Moore, like those guys that are just quick, shifty. And obviously, like, CD's like his own thing, man. He's a big dude, but he gets down. He's like underneath. Like, I watched the game last week. I could barely see him. Those offensive linemen are out there pulling. And those free catches really make these ones a lot easier to get to, especially at plus money on both of them.
Yep, definitely agree, and definitely like that price as well. Going to be tailing you on that one, and probably just throwing a CD like 100 plus in there feels like something you just got to do every single week at this point because the Bucs are the matchup to do it as well. So definitely like that. I see someone ask me where was the Saquon odds. You can get that at Caesars or Bet365. Those are the ones that have those longest plays.
Sorry, I'm trying to read that. I didn't.
And I will say, I got one more. I talked about it a second ago for the touchdowns. I parlayed Trey McBride with Devontae Adams plus 425. That's my unofficial touchdown parlay of the week right there. Obviously, McBride, everyone in the world is talking about it. But for me, Devontae Adams is going under the radar right now. 4 touchdowns in his last 3. Rodgers is cooking right now, guys. I don't know if I'm going to bet the Jets outright, but I'm going to bet the Jets team total this week because I think their offense is underrated and their defense is overrated. And we know the Rams can play ball. Like, I think that's going to be a sneaky good game, and I want some props in that one. So haven't figured out how fully I'm going to bet it, but it's probably going to be like a Garrett Wilson 100-plus kind of ladder, and then we're getting Devontae in there for the touchdown, paired up with Trey McBride. A little bit of extra long shot action coming off of a huge one. I want to get a couple out there after my guy Hassan Haskins cash for us.
I would definitely play Rodgers over Anthony Richardson in fantasy. That's just me. That Rams defense is asking for a shootout, bro.
He ran for 45 yards, too. He was the leading rusher last week. I mean, Rodgers is the funniest guy. Well, it depends on who you are. Just the fuck you to the team. If you're a Jets fan, you probably hate this. And I would too.
Oh, yeah.
I would hate, oh, my God. But, of course, Rodgers is going to ball out for these last couple games and make people go, oh, look, that's there. We can do it again next year. There's nothing he wants to more than to spite everyone by balling out in some completely useless games right now. So I like betting on that angle. And, I would start him in fantasy over Richardson, absolutely.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I don't know. I'm a little bit more. I like the Steelers, bro. I kind of like the Steelers in that game. For the spread.
I can't bet without Pickens. It's just unbettable. I won't take the other side, but I can't do it. It's for me.
Pickens, this is my only reason I even say this. I don't. Maybe it's not like Wilson spots. Maybe it's more like a Freiermuth bet for me or something like that.
Yeah.
But you're gonna give me almost a full touchdown in this rivalry, bro. How do you not take it?
I see what you mean. I can't pull the trigger. I can't.
No, I wouldn't take yards. Maybe it's like I couldn't even take attempts. It would be like completions or Freiermuth or I can't trust anything else. But I mean, I think the Steelers, dude. I think they obviously TJ Watt off the injury report is massive, dude. Like that changes things. So
the only thing I think is like a Freiermuth, like ladder receptions, or like a Calvin Austin, like longest, because someone's still got to get the Russ deep bombs. And I don't know about you, Mike Williams, I love you. You cashed a lot of tickets for me over the years. I'm not doing it anymore, boss. I'm not. You're too old. I mean, there's a reason you've been on a couple different teams. And Van Jefferson shouldn't be on any team. One of the worst active wide receivers in the league. So when I look at that group, I go, hey, at least Calvin Austin's kind of fun. He runs down the field, gets deep, can create separation. So I'm with you. I think, you can do a couple creative things. And I do agree. You got the voodoo magic on your side as well. Too many points in a rivalry. I can't actually click the button. I would actually be on Pittsburgh this week, but I just think Pickens is so important to that team.
Oh, for sure. Last question. We gotta take care of our guy Coop. He's in here all the time. Thoughts on Rico Dowdle under 72.5 rushing yards?
That's a good question.
I might just take attempts because they've just been fucking handing him the damn ball. I think he's had 19 plus attempts in 4 straight games. Like, I just don't think if Vita Vea is playing, I will not take a running back against him. I can't.
It's weird because Dowdle's actually been good too. I talked about the success rate, like earlier in the year, Algier being number 3. I believe Dowdle's number 1 in success rate over these last 5 weeks or something like that too. So it's tough. I kind of agree with your general thought process of there are probably easier ways to do it, but with how much they blitz, Vita Vea being in there, I'd just take over probably on attempts, same as you. Maybe Yard just because he's been good, but I just can't get to that under when if you've paid attention, they blitzed at a 60% rate over the last 3 weeks. That's 20% higher than they were on the regular season. They don't have anything on defense, and they know it. So they're sending the house at you. The one thing Cooper does do well is check down really fast. So I think it's going to be check downs to CeeDee Lamb, and then when you don't want to worry about that, you just hand the ball off. And like you said, 19 times a game, that kind of volume, I just can't bet unders. I've heard some good people talk about Joe Mixon unders this week. I agree with the logic. I see where you're coming from. But once again, a guy that's getting 20 carries a game, I'm having a very, very hard time clicking the under, no matter what the matchup is. So yeah, volume is just a little bit too good for me to take an under.
Beautiful. Stu, final thoughts. A little over an hour. We got 50 people still, 49 people still in here. What you got for him?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a good weekend. I'm excited. We got fantastic football all weekend long. Just started out with a freaking Ohio player prop cash. That feels fucking good. I miss sweating bets during the show. It's only like that during baseball season, and I don't like baseball season that much, so this is way better. So, no, fired up. Going to be a good weekend. Make sure you're followed over on Twitter. Going to be dropping a couple free plays as well. Like I said in my article, I posted that this morning. It's going to be one of my highest volume weeks, probably in a little bit. I know a lot of people aren't loving the slate, but I'm seeing a lot of good opportunities lingering around. So already got 5 or so plays out. If you want access to all my plays, you can go check it out in the 4for4 Discord. You can still join through the rest of the season and the playoffs for $16 with code TONE for the rest of the season. Every Dub Club, WAP, whatever fucking app, it's $40 a month now. I haven't even paid attention to any of these capper Discords. I had no clue we've gone up from collectively agreeing $9.99 was a good price to $40 a month. I mean, I don't know. That's just me. Either way, $20 for the rest of the season and the playoffs seems like a pretty freaking good deal. I would come join in. We're doing good. You don't just get my stuff. You get Connor Allen, Ryan Noonan, 2 of the sharpest guys around. So make sure you check out 4for4, code TONE, get a good deal. It's $15 for the rest of the year. Little early Christmas present, and hopefully we can help you, break even this holiday season. That's the goal, because I'm about to go spend some money right now.
Yeah, I know. I'm not excited for that, obviously. Big weekend for me. College basketball slate tomorrow is going to be fucking nuts. I got that. We got college football. I already got my player props out for the college football playoff. That starts tonight. I already did a couple brackets for that as well. And obviously ready for some fantasy football playoffs here. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. Hit that like button on your way out. And if you have any other questions, anything else, hopefully no more injury news pops up or anything, drop it in the chat, and we will get to it before the end of the show. So unfortunately, MMA is off for 3 weeks, buddy. So that's
I wish.
Yeah. So yeah. So but I get it. Have a good one, guys, and best of luck this weekend.